Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome. I'm Drawing with Mr. S, and today I'm going to be taking subscriber-submitted Chimera drawings and redrawing them for my world building challenge. That's right, I'll be taking them and putting them in the world of Wakálee. So, without further ado, all you got to do is sit back, relax, and enjoy the episode. Alright guys, so the first drawing we're going to take a look at is actually one from last episode, okay? And that one involved a red panda and canary chimera. And so this one was submitted in by Juo, and Juo did an excellent job with his Pandanary chimera. The thing that got me wasn't the lore, but it was definitely the drawing, okay? And as I'm looking at the time lapse, you guys can kind of see that I'm kind of messing around with head shapes. I thought he did a really good job with the head shape, but I had a lot of red panda vibes from his drawing and not enough of that canary feel. And so you'll notice that when I was drawing his character and I was redrawing my style, I ended up going more bird-like on the head, okay? And I actually chose this one because it was the only submitted chimera drawing that had wings. And that's something that I want a little bit more practice with, especially if you guys have been keeping up with my Dimensional Adventurer series. You know, I have an angel character named Crash and Verd in there, and they both have wings, and so I'm trying to get wing anatomy down, all right? And so I thought that would be something that I could focus in and try to do a little bit better with, okay? And obviously in this drawing, you'll obviously see me drawing both Ruku and Salal, but I'm gonna go ahead, we're gonna skip through that part of the time lapse and just focus in on the drawing of the Pandanary character, okay? And so you guys can see me, hopefully you can see me on the time lapse here, where I'm doing the line work. I made it a really big, bulking character, about maybe 30 feet tall, right? So not super big in kaiju realm, right, if we're looking at that. But I wanted it to be big enough, menacing enough that you felt like it could crush you underneath its paws, it could swipe at you with its claws. I wanted it to have a really good feel to it where you'd feel like you're freaked out or you were scared. I think I originally went a little bit more on the yellow side when I was thinking about the yellow canary when I was coloring in the face, and then I kind of went orange, or kind of like a reddish hue for the red panda typing, and so I kind of kept that the way it was. I was really happy with the way this one turned out. I feel like I still need a little bit more help on the wing anatomy. I need a little bit more practice, and then hopefully as I continue to do the Dimensional Adventurer series or create possibly some more flying chimeras or monsters from the land of monsters in my world, then I'll just get that much better. Let's take a final look at Juo's Pandanary. Alright guys, so the next design is coming from Wild Howler Designs, and I've got to say, it's completely wild, it's completely awesome, it's an incredible drawing. I was blown away by your artistic skills with your texturing, and just like your believability with it, but then I got into your lore, and your lore, oh my gosh, did that just suck me into it, and I was like, man, you can write, and you can draw, and I was like, I really love this design. So thank you so much for submitting this in. But I will tell you this, I think because your design was so good, I got into my head a little bit, and I feel like, honestly, I did not do this drawing justice. And I'll point a few different reasons why as the time lapse progresses, okay? And so you'll see that and it's a mistake that I think I make. I start off drawing the frog right after I'm done with the bear. So I get the bear drawing in, I get the arms, I get the main like muzzle, and I get the fur on his chest, and then I kind of stick the heads in. And this is kind of where I get lost in my own drawing. I end up trying to put both the frog and the moose and the bear torso and try to put them all together. But the problem is, and I think this is where I suffered a little bit, was that because they're textured differently, like the warty, scaly, slimy feel of the frog, and then I got two different fur textures for the bear and the moose, it just wasn't working. Like it didn't like cohesively go together. And I wish I had done something a little bit different. I wish I had probably either changed that right arm, which is on the left side, and just made it a moose leg and a moose arm, and then kept the left one as maybe more of the bear arm. I think that would have changed it up a little bit on my side, or I could have connected both arms to that torso and then just put the kind of like the torso part of the frog and the neck part of the moose, and I could have just put it a little bit behind those arms. I did something weird about it, and you'll see it, and I apologize on that side. But I am still trying to learn how to texture some fur. I'm still relying a lot on my fur brushes, my fur texture brushes, versus like me trying to render that out with like an airbrush style, or maybe even trying to go more into cell shading. I've leaned away from it a lot in the past, so I'm trying to still figure out which of those methods I like more. And when it comes to fur texturing, I'm just not the expert. So again, you did an incredible job on your side. I can't say nothing but positive things about your drawing. And of course, your lore was incredible. I mentioned that earlier. I mean, all of that said, I really feel like I didn't do this one as much justice as I did the other drawings in here. And for that reason alone, you'll see me redraw this redraw all over again in the next world building episode. So Wild Howler Designs, just be ready for my second attempt at this drawing. All right, so let's take a final look at Wild Howler Designs Wakálee Garú. The next submission that I decided to redraw is coming from friend of the channel, Galahound19. I've drawn one of his pieces already before for a different topic, but I really liked his design a lot, so I decided to go with it. And here, I wanted to really make it dynamic, but then I got to a point where I was a little bit uncomfortable because I couldn't figure out how the head, body, and all that was kind of morphing in together. And so I kind of went a different route. I ended up going the route of doing it symmetrically, similar to yours. So I almost try to do a one-to-one, but in my style. So you can kind of see that I'm using the same pose, same layout that you have. I think I end up lowering the arms a bit and kind of bend them upward as opposed to keeping them in two different motions. So it makes it a little bit more static than your drawing. But I was trying to get a good feel for your character. You did tell me in the email when you did send it out to me that the colors were up to me, and so I ended up trying to go for more of a almost like deserty type of feel. So I was kind of going with reds and golds and browns and things like that. And I think the colors work well. I love your illustration. I thought that was fun. You didn't have a name for your particular design, so I kind of had to come up with one. And I had to base it on the animals that you said were part of it, right? And so you told me that we had a snake, right? In this particular case, a cobra snake, a scorpion, and then a bull. And they were all essentially together, right? And what was really cool about your design was that you had two mouths, and then you had like extra eyes coming off of the arms, or at least I perceived those as eyes, so I drew them as eyes. I think what I would have liked to do, what I would have liked to have done was maybe make it more dynamic and do that fire breathing that you had your initial drawing on the side do. I wish I did it with this one. And part of me honestly doesn't even want the fire to come from the top mouth, but I want it to come from the mouth at the chest, because I think that would have been cool. And so what I did to try to at least show that maybe fire might be coming out of there is I kind of put some reds and yellows in the lighting to kind of show like, oh, we can kind of give off that breath, okay? But yeah, Galahound, another awesome drawing. I think this one turned out pretty good, and I really hope you like it. Let's take a final look at Galahound 19's Cobruscorn. So the last drawing is coming from Kaiju Cheese. I know Kaiju Cheese pretty well, and I know they draw a lot of like really dark kinds of art, so usually like monsters, zombies, things like that. And so I was really happy when they submitted in this art piece. Their lore isn't what caught me, it was the art that caught me on this one. I thought it was really sick looking. There's all this like blood and evil, and it was dark, and I loved it. Now I did mention that there was some submissions that didn't have wings, and I wanted that in there, and I forgot this one has wings on it too, so I kind of went in this direction as well. So apologies that I forgot that this one had wings on it. So I liked a lot about your design, and I tried to draw it differently, as if he was like flying in the air or kind of moving and then kind of gliding towards whatever his prey is going to be. Again, it's going to be in this fantasy world. He'll show up in some way, shape, or form. But I think it's kind of cool because I like the idea of having two heads. I like the idea of like this rat character for one head and then like this owl. And so you do something really well. You add this extra element that has like an extra eye and like this opening of folded skin, and I thought that was a really cool design aspect or element to add into this. But I'm gonna be honest, I had the toughest time with that, and you'll see me struggle, you'll see me erase it, you'll see me try to go away from it and try to bring it back. There is so much in there. It's such a cool concept, and it doesn't seem like it's that difficult to pull off, but I struggled. I don't know. I was probably not in the right state of mind when I was trying to redesign it, but I loved it. I can totally see this as something that Ruku and the others can kind of find somewhere in like the heavy forested area that is Wanana, right? Because we have a lot of forested regions in the upper northern part of the map into the land of orcs. Maybe that's where we'll see him, or maybe we'll see him around the land of bays. I'm not entirely sure how I'm going to fit it in, but I'm going to fit it in. Now again, I did these wings differently. I noticed that you had more triangular wings, and I wanted to do these in a different sense. I wanted to make the front parts of the wings a little bit more rectangular, almost like they could be like fingers, almost like if you ever watch Pokemon and you see Lugia's wings that kind of look like hands. I kind of wanted that vibe for your character. And I also kind of added in the triangle parts, or like the more traditional feather looking wings towards the back. And I think I did pretty well with it when I was rendering, and I really liked the way that this one turned out. This one, I think, out of all of them that I did, at least for this part, not counting the one from the last world building episode, so I'm not counting Pandanary, but I think this one has a little bit more non-static-y posing to it, and I think that's kind of why I'm leaning more towards this one being my favorite in the bunch. Yeah, I enjoyed this. Again, you didn't have a name, kind of like Galahound didn't have a name for their character, so I ended up calling it Rowlat, which also reminds me of Rowlet from Pokemon, but this is clearly a rat-owl fusion. Thank you, Kaiju Cheese, for submitting in this art piece. I had a lot of fun drawing it. Let's take a final look at Kaiju Cheese's Rowlet. Alright guys, well I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, please leave this video a like and comment down below which character you enjoyed the most. I really had a lot of fun with this community redraw, and I'm hoping to do several more in the future, so please keep on submitting either via the Discord, which is linked in the description down below, or in the email that I'm about to show you for our upcoming community redraw. But this community redraw is going to be a little bit different. I'm going to need your help designing some characters that are going to show up in Dimensional Adventurers. If you open up the Google document that's linked down below in the description, you're going to find a list of these characters, some drawing design ideas that I had for them, but ultimately it's going to be up to you. So just use the some of the aesthetics or coloring or moods, use the descriptions to help you create your version of these characters that are supposed to show up in this series. Now, some of the characters that you're going to be drawing are actually going to be mainstays on the entire thing. So some of these guys are going to show up on the team, and they're going to be traveling throughout the storyline and be part of the actual Dimensional Adventurers that travel through different dimensions trying to stop the rising of the demon armies, okay? All right, so I'm drawing with Mr. S, and as always, I'll see you all in the next video. Y'all take care of yourselves. Have a good one. Bye.